Hi everyone, this is Heather from Maxon UK, and today I'm going to do a nice short tutorial on how you can achieve this deformed sphere effect in Cinema 4D using just the Displacer Deformer. So I hope you enjoy. Let's jump in and get started. So first of all, for this effect we're going to need a sphere. So I'm going to go to Primitive Object menu and get one of those. Now to begin with, I need to kind of prepare this sphere ready for the deformer. So I'm going to need to change a couple of these settings. Before I do that, I'm just going to change the display to garage shading lines, just so I can explain myself a little bit better. So first of all, I need to increase the amount of segments. This is very important in order for our Displacer Deformer to work properly with the noise and the effects that we're going to give it. So some of the effects are actually quite detailed. If I just go back and have a quick look, like this one here, and it requires quite a lot of subdivisions in your mesh. So I'm going to change that to 200. Okay, and you can see we now have a lot more segments on our mesh. At the minute we have some quite large ones around the middle of the sphere, but if I rotate around the top, you can see they get smaller towards the top, and it's the same at the bottom. I would prefer to have my segments more evenly distributed over the mesh, so I'm going to change the type from standard to icosahedron. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but there you go, this one here. And you can see that it's kind of evenly distributed the segments for us, and they're all relatively the same size. So I think that's our sphere kind of prepared. I'm just going to go back to normal garage shading, and now we can concentrate on the deformer. So go to the deformer menu and grab a displacer, and the displacer will need to be made a child of the sphere, like that. And now we can have a look at the settings. So the first tab I'm going to come to is the shading tab, and we need to add in some noise. So to do that, go to where it says shader and click on the arrow, and you can add in noise from the menu that comes up. And you can see this noise straight away affects our sphere. So it's basically taking this black and white image, applying it onto the sphere, and it's deforming the mesh that way. So it's looking at the white sections and saying, okay, you can come up 10 centimeters, and it's looking at the black sections and saying, right, you can go in 10 centimeters. So we can change the settings of this noise as well. So I'm going to click on the word noise, or you can click on the preview window, and it takes you to a whole load more settings. The first one we're going to look at is the noise. This is where we can change that black and white image. If I click on the word noise, you can see you've got a whole load of different words that to me don't really mean that much, but quite helpfully, over on the right hand side you do have another arrow that you can click on, and it gives you a preview window. So you can click on each one and see how it looks on your sphere. So in this case I'm going to use sparse convolution. So quite similar to the original noise we had in there. The next setting that we can look at is the global scale. So the global scale will just increase the size of these black and white images. So if I increase that to something like 380, you can see that it changes the look of the noise on the sphere a great deal. You can also change the relative scale. So if you want to stretch it up on the y-axis, you could do that if you wanted to. So let's have a look at a couple of the other settings in the main deformer now. So you can either click on the Displacer Deformer in your object manager, or you can use your black arrow just to move up back to your main menus. So I'm going to have a look in the object tab now. So in here you've got your strength. You can actually go below 0% and it will kind of invert that noise for you. However, what I want to change is the height. At the minute it's 10 centimeters, so you're basically raising up the white parts by 10 centimeters, and you're kind of depressing the black parts by 10 centimeters as well. So I'm going to increase that to 50 centimeters, and you can see that now it's a lot more of a powerful effect. So once we've done that, I can see a little bit better how the mesh is going to look, and I don't really like how it's affecting the sphere at the minute. So I'm going to go back to the shading tab and click on noise again. If you're not too keen on how it's affecting your sphere, but you like the look of the displacement, you can change the seed, and that will just change the arrangement on the sphere for you. So you can see you can click through until you get to a look that you like, basically. So I'll just go for 664, that looks fine. So in my original animation, you can see here that the noise is kind of moving, it's animated, whereas if I press play at the minute, our noise is static, it's not moving the sphere around at all. We can easily change that just by changing this animation speed. So if I change that to 1 and then press play, you can see we now have an animated deformer. You can change this to go quite fast. If I change that to 10, you can see it's going quite fast. You can go quite slow by changing it to 0.1. You can see it's going a lot slower. We'll leave it as 1 for this case. Okay, so now what I want to have a look at is the fall off of the deformer. So again, I'm going to click on the displacer in the object manager to get back to the main menus, and then I'm going to have a look in the fall off tab. By default, the shape is set to infinite, which means it's going to affect everything on this sphere mesh. I don't want that. I'm going to change the shape to sphere so we can animate the effect passing through the sphere. So just change that, and you won't really see too much at the minute. I'm just going to increase the size on each axis to 200 centimeters so we can see a little bit more. So you should see a yellow kind of cage appear, and we can move this around. So if I move this over to the left, you can see that the effect is getting less and less, and if we move this completely off, it's not affecting the sphere at all. Okay, so we can get some quite interesting looks from this. When you're looking at this fall off, you've got a red circle here, and that means anything within this red circle is 100% affected by the deformer. Anything between this red and yellow circle is the fall off, so it's going between 100% and 0%. Anything outside that yellow circle, it's not going to affect the sphere at all. So we can animate this now. So in the fall off tab, in the coordinates tab, I'm just going to animate it on the x-axis. So first of all, I'm going to change that value to -300. So you can see it goes over to the left of our sphere. Make sure the time slider is at 0, and then I'm just going to control and left click on that grey dot to record a keyframe. Then I'm going to move forward to frame 100. I'm just going to remove that minus, and then control and left click again. So now it's over to the right. And then lastly, I'm going to move my time slider forward to 200, change it back to a minus, and control and left click for a final time. Now if I press play, you can see that the fall off's moving through the sphere, and then the effect completely wears off, and then it's going to come back through and affect the sphere again. So what I would like to do now is change the noise settings halfway through this animation. So to do that, I'm going to go back to the shading tab, and then again click on the word noise, or that window there. And I'm going to move my time slider forward to frame 100. So you can see that at the minute our displacer isn't affecting this sphere at all. So I'm going to record the noise as sparse convolution, and I'm going to record the global scale because those are the two things that I want to change. So I'm telling Cinema, right, I want you to stay as sparse convolution and as 380% throughout these first 100 frames. Then I'm going to move forward one keyframe, so it's frame 101, and I'm going to change this noise. I don't really know what to yet. Let me think. Nutus? Oh gosh, I don't know how to pronounce that one either. But yeah, that might work. So we'll have a look at that one. And I'm also going to increase the global scale to something like 1000%, just to show you the difference, basically. And then I'm going to control click on both of those attributes again. So now, if I scroll back to the beginning and press play, hopefully this will work. So we've got the sparse convolution noise passing through on that one, but when this comes back through, we get a different effect. So that's how I created the effect that I showed you earlier. But I just kept adding to it and adding to it, so you can see there are a whole load of different noise types that you can experiment with. I've also changed things like the height and a few other parameters as well. I've actually got an image here that, I don't know, maybe you can pause on your computers to show you how I have affected the sphere using different noises, different global scales and different heights. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I shall see you in the next one.